I want to thank everybody who's joining us today. I'm a carpenter by trade. I've been a foreman, a project manager, an estimator, so I know how valuable your time is, and we're going to make some productive use of it today. My name's Justin Wetherby. I've got over 10 years of project management experience, and I've been working with eSUB for almost 6 years now, and I've literally worked with thousands of contractors helping to them to perfect their workflows. One of the biggest breakdowns in communication that we found is that field to office communication. We've got our folks out on the job site and they're disconnected from the folks back in the office. And with this new adoption of technology, it's more available than it's ever been to bridge that gap between our foremen and our project managers. 10, 12 years ago, there wasn't iPhones. You know, it's hard to believe, remember a world before the smartphone, but it wasn't that long ago. So, you know, we always ask, you know, why is construction sometimes the last to pick up this technology? But really, it hasn't been available like it is today with the existence and adoption of new technology. What we found, eSUB was born from a claims consulting firm, and the claims consulting firm exclusively represented self-performing contractors in their disputes and litigation against owners and general contractors. And what we found is that there's been a fundamental shift of risk, and it basically just keeps rolling downhill. The owner used to have the risk. If their building wasn't opened on time, then they would lose money, and you know they didn't want to pallet that risk, so they gave it to the GC. GC, if you don't have my building done on time, you're going to pick up that risk. Well, what does the GC do? Rolls it down to the subcontractor. What does the subcontractor do? It basically rolls it down to the foreman. And so we need to be able to provide our labor productivity reporting from the field back to the office. So we've got another poll question. One of your biggest risks to profit is going to be your labor, among some other things. And we want to know, how is that time currently collected from your folks out in the field? Is that going to be on paper timesheets, phone calls back to the office? Are you guys using a time card app? If so, in the question, the Q&A section, go ahead and drop in what app you guys are looking for. You know, today we've got so many people in the room that we can't really open our microphones up. So your best way to communicate is going to be with these polls as they come up and through the questions and answers. So go ahead and jump in, get those polls answered, and then we'll go and share the results with the rest of the group today. All right, looks like most of the folks today are capturing those on paper timesheets. You know, we'll talk about increasing visibility, not with just the labor productivity, but also the different job site conditions that come up. And what we're really hoping to achieve is removing these project silos. You have your different folks in their different silos. They need a cloud-based collaborative tool to allow them to communicate effectively around that project. We'll talk a little bit about tracking your productivity, and we wanted to know, where's your personal biggest risk to profit on the jobs you manage? So we've got another poll question up there. If you guys would dive in, let us know. Is that, for you guys, is that labor? Is that where your biggest risk is? Is it material, equipment, overhead, other? Go ahead and dive in and get that question answered, and we'll go ahead and share the results with the group.
All right, I'm going to leave it open for a couple more seconds and then we'll push it out. All right. There you go.
All right, yeah, far and away, right? Labor is going to be your biggest impact or your biggest risk to profit on those jobs. Also, you know, besides just capturing time and what the folks were working on, the old saying is we don't get paid for the work we do, we get paid for the work we document. And so often those changes in scope are coming from our folks out in the field. So we'll take a look today on how they can report on extra work favors that they've done, any problems or scheduling issues that have come up as well. We got another poll question in here, and what's really nice is, this information isn't just for us, but it's for sharing with the entire group. So if you can jump in there and let us know, where is the biggest impact to the productive use of your labor? Is it unforeseen job site conditions, delays or disruptions, changing scope? Is it, undocumented verbal directives? Where's that falling in there?
And we'll leave that open for a couple more seconds as you guys submit your answers. Thank you all. We're getting a lot of answers on these poll questions. It's awesome. And there we go. Oh, 50-50.
Yeah, pretty much. We see a lot of that when we get on site. Too often the plans are unconstructable. I've run into that so many times myself. We go out on the job site and we start installing our materials, and basically the plans don't match what is actually on the job site. And then other delays and disruptions usually caused by other trades. The trade in front of you hasn't finished yet, or they're going back and doing other work. Sometimes they're taking your work down to redo theirs, and you come back to the job, and what you've just completed, you'd have to go back and redo. So we definitely want to mitigate that as much as possible. And really, you end up with this catch-22. Your folks are too busy out in the field to report what's going on and to do great documentation. But with our app, it's going to be really streamlined to get very detailed information from your folks very quickly so that they can continue doing the work, but also are able to document that to protect the company. I want to know, are your foremen currently filling out daily reports? We find a lot. I used to have a binder in my truck of paper daily reports, and, eventually those make it back to the office, but there's no sort of visibility or transparency around those. So with a cloud-based solution like eSUB, your folks out in the field are going to be able to input that data, have that data come back to the office in real time. And you basically get a live stream of what's going on the job. It looks like some folks are doing it every day. Some folks are only doing it when it's required, and I guess just as many folks are not doing it at all or very rarely. So we want to kind of turn that mindset around and realize that your number one profit protection tool is your daily report. We used to fill these out by paper, as I mentioned before. They would get filed away, sent off to the storage company, and if something came up on that job 6-8 months after we completed it, we need to recall those boxes, bring them into the conference room. They're stacked 3 high, and as we sort through those boxes, what are we finding? Well, we're finding a lot of dust, and it's very difficult to search through that paperwork to find that one daily report or that series of daily reports that's going to help mitigate your risk on this job. eSUB being digital, all of it is structured data, so it's all reportable as well. Besides taking or filling out daily reports, are your folks out in the field taking photos? The old saying is a picture's worth 1,000 words. I can't tell you how many times for me a picture's been worth $1,000.
That's hilarious. And what are you often seeing as you're talking to these foremen? Do you see them taking a lot of photos, or are you seeing less? What is your take on it?
Well, you know what? They kind of fall into one of two categories. They're either not taking photos, or they are taking photos, but they're never making it back to the office. They're on their personal devices, and only if there's a problem do the project manager starts searching out those photos. But at that point, it's already too late. If you're not getting those job site photos centralized, and also in a way that's reportable and searchable, a lot of that's going to slip through the cracks.
I see. Well,
all right, perfect. 80-20 split there. There you go. So what we're going to do today is we're going to dive into the product and actually just walk through a quick day in the life of eSUB when it comes to the foreman reporting labor productivity and job site conditions. Back to our folks in the office, eSUB definitely has a robust suite when it comes to project management documentation. But today we're only going to focus on that field to office communication. So give me a quick second. I'll go ahead and share my screen, and we'll dive right into that product. All right, good deal. eSUB is going to have two major interfaces. You're going to have your interface from the web and then your interface from the mobile device. Our mobile apps are available both for Apple and Android devices, whether those are phones or tablets. So I've got my tablet up here on the right, and then I've got the project manager or the web version over here on the left. Now, whether I'm logging in on the mobile app or on the web, I'm first confronted with a list of the projects that I'm assigned to as a foreman or as a project manager. My company may be running 100 projects, but I only see the ones I've been assigned to. Now, if you think about eSUB as an online filing system, that top-level folder is the project. So I can't create a daily report, take a photo, fill out an RFI, a change order, a submittal, without first picking the project that I'm working on. So here on my mobile app, we're going to be working on the Jefferson High School project today. And our first two options, the field notes and daily reports, are where we're going to focus, because those first two options are information that the field is providing us back in the office. The rest of that information is going to be passed from the office to the field. I mentioned before that your daily report is your #1 profit protection tool. So I'm going to come in and we're going to quickly fill out a daily report together. I chose what date. It defaulted to today. And as you notice, my daily report has got 6 sections: comments, crews, subs, equipment, material. I can take and attach field notes, which are our photos. If I need to, I can email this daily report out, and then the weather information comes in automatically. And as we're filling out a daily report here on the mobile device, I'll also pull up what a finished product looks like over here on the left. So just starting from the top and working our way down, we have our comments section. You have 8 different buckets for comments, and those buckets are customizable to prompt your workers for the information that you're looking to capture. You can see where that comes up here on the final product. Now, because this is a mobile device, we want to change the way they're filling out the daily reports. We don't want them filling these out at the end of the day. We want them filling out daily reports throughout the day. So something comes up on the job site, 7:30 a.m., we showed up on the job site, began work on the east side of the building. The phone goes back in their pocket. They continue working until something else pops up on their job, and they can just open the eSUB app back open. It's right where they left off. 10 a.m., there was another trade in the way, and we had to move to the west side of the building. Again, phone goes back in their pocket. They continue the work. They run into something else. You go ahead and pop open that comment section open. 4:30 p.m., we secured the job site and left for the day. What we find is that talk to type works very well, and it allows us to get very detailed information into the system very quickly. And we're not just filling out a PDF here like you see on the left. All of this information is feeding the back-end database. So all of this is searchable, whether I'm talking about a description of work performed, any scheduling or coordination issues, and what did you give away for free. Those are the major topics that we see getting tracked. Now, we know, based on the poll results, that you may have to send this daily report to someone outside your company, like the general contractor or the owner. So in the comments section, we also have a spot for internal comments. And this is going to be a section for comments that are not shown on the daily report when they're printed or emailed by default. The general contractor has multiple trades stacked on top of each other. We'll never get anything done on this job. let us know if there's any questions. I'll be happy to answer those as we go through. Alyssa will kind of bring those up as you put those in, because we want to keep it as interactive today as possible, and that Q&A section is your best option. So we looked at our comments. Alyssa?
It does look like we have one from Troy, and he asks, how do daily reports impact my production?
So that's actually the next section that we're going to hit on, which is the crew section. We talked about the comments, and now we're going to go ahead and talk about our crews. Well, what's a crew? It's just a group of people, in this case, working on a certain area of the job. These areas are optional, so we're working on building 1, building 2, level 1, and what were we doing? We were doing rough-in. Well, who was doing rough-in? We had Chris, Justin, and Michael. How many hours did they put in? How many units did they install? Now that units field is optional. We'll show you how those 2 different reports come about. And then this last section of the daily report, I've been told by so many of our clients, gives you an instant ROI on eSUB. It's this hours lost column. And this does not affect the time cards for the job. This is a separate category for unproductive time. So these folks were unproductive for 1 hour. If I try to save this, it's not going to allow me to without putting in a reason why I lost those hours. Why did we lose those hours? Well, there was another trade in the way. Now, what happens by filling out this crew section, not only does it populate here on my daily report, but it's also producing time cards for my folks in the back office. This time can be reviewed, approved, and then exported into your accounting package. If you've got any particular accounting package that you guys use, feel free to drop those into the Q&A as well, and I'll just give a brief overview of the different levels of functionality for your different accounting packages. One universal theme is if your accounting package can accept a flat file import, like a text or CSV or an Excel file import of time, we can produce an export to match those formatting requirements. We haven't been stumped yet. So once the time's been reviewed and approved, you then export that into your accounting package. Now, besides the time cards that are produced, we're also going to start producing detailed labor productivity reports. Now, I know there's a lot going on this page, so I'll just direct you to a couple columns. The first column is the total budgeted hours, broken out by cost code. So we can see what has been budgeted. Then we can also see what hours have been used. And these used hours are fed in real time from my daily report. As it's producing daily reports, as it's producing time cards, it's also filling out my labor productivity reports. Now, this particular report is driven off of percent complete. So once a week, once a month, maybe it's the foreman, maybe it's the project manager, maybe you do it from the web or do it from the mobile app. You'll come in and update your percent complete. And based on your percent complete, eSUB's going to project for you how many remaining hours to finish that task, and then what was your level of efficiency. And we find a lot of these larger firms have separate estimating and project management departments. And too often there's finger pointing in between those when a job goes south. What this reporting will allow you to do is look over multiple projects and see, with the crew makeup that we currently have, what are we performing well on time and time again, and, what are we falling short on? And that's what we call full cycle job costing, bringing that all the way through back to the estimators so that they can sharpen their pencils where need be and add some padding if necessary. We also have a productivity reports that's driven off of units. Over here on the left, you have your estimated hours and units. Thus, you get units, estimated units per hour. Then, based on our daily report, we've got the hours and the units over here. You get your actuals and be able to see actual percent of hours used, units installed, and then your actual units per hour. Now, we touched on another report, which is our lost hours summary. And what this report does is it aggregates all those lost hours from the hours lost section. So a lot of my folks use this not directly to bill for these hours, but to help mitigate and push back on any back charges that might come their way. I don't know what it is, but they always like to hit us with back charges at the end of the job, and this will help us combat having to pay for those. Also, a lot of folks use this in negotiating other change orders that they already have pending. So, Mr. GC, I understand you only want to pay 50 cents on the dollar on this change order, and that's okay, but if you do that, I'm going to have to bill you for all these lost hours. I'll send you a report on all the hours we've lost on this project, and then a supplemental change order for those hours. Oh, you want to negotiate a little more on this other change order? Perfect, let's go ahead and do that. So what you can see is by just filling out a daily report in eSUB, not getting into eSUB's RFIs or submittals or purchase orders or change orders or pay applications. There's so much value just in filling out a daily report on the mobile app, and then all the great reporting that we get in the back office as well. If you guys got any questions, feel free to drop those in. I'll be happy to answer those. If we've got any currently, we can answer those. And, as we go through, feel free to drop those in. So we're going to blow through the last 3 sections of this daily report, not because they're not important, just because they're very easy to use. I can also track subcontractors, whether those are my subs or other subs. I can track equipment and material. Those are just drop-down lists, and you can actually see what those look like. And last but not least, we can take photos from our mobile app and have those attached to our daily report. And again, we're not just getting back a picture. We're getting back a beautiful piece of documentation with your letterhead across the top, the day and time the photo was taken, who took the photo. And again, as I'm taking photos from my mobile app, it's going to force me to put in some sort of text around those pictures. This text is all searchable, so if you use keywords like you see here, delay, change order, things like that, you can quickly search those in the back end as well. Now, because these are tied to my daily reports already, they're also available to be attached to the other documents I mentioned, RFIs, change orders, and the like. Now, if you're a project manager who's running more than one project at a time, we have a section of eSUB called Corporate Management. And instead of having to dive into each of my particular projects to see the daily reports or the photos that were taken or the outstanding RFIs, what we do is we roll that into what we call Corporate Management. And that Corporate Management, while it sounds real official, it's just an overview of the projects that I manage. You'll be able to see all the newest photos that are coming in across all of the projects that you manage on one screen. Same thing with your daily reports. Without even opening and viewing those beautiful daily reports, you can actually see the comments across all the projects that you manage on one screen, with the newest ones being on top. Now, this sort of corporate reporting is not just available for daily reports, but for all of your documents as well, RFIs, submittals, meeting minutes, pay apps, change orders, purchase orders, things like that. Now, when it comes to entering time for our folks out in the field, what we just took a look at is the foreman filling out time for his crew. We have a couple different options for recording time. If you want, you can have an individual punch in and punch out on his own device. When he punches in and punches out, it captures his GPS location. It compares that to the job site location, and it may flag that record if he's too far away. They pick the job they're working on, the cost code, and then punch in. They can also view their timesheets, whether they're punching in or punching out themselves, or if their foreman is filling out their time. They can review their timesheets. And then also we have what's called resource management, which allows you to schedule the individuals onto certain projects, and they're able to view that schedule here on their mobile device. If your company isn't set up where the individuals will be using their own device, you can have all this same functionality in what we call the Kiosk Mode. And that kiosk mode is essentially everything that you saw before, except this would be a community device on the job site where the individual picks his name, puts in his PIN, and then can either punch in, punch out, view his time cards, or his schedule. Alyssa, did we have any outstanding questions that we needed to answer? Because we've kind of reached the end of our presentation here on our labor productivity reporting.
Justin, I'm not seeing any right now. I did see someone sent in QuickBooks, but I think that was a little while ago. I'm not sure what that's in reference to.
Yeah, let's hit on that real quick. We offer accounting integration for different accounting packages. So if you folks have any questions about your specific accounting package, feel free to drop that into the chat. With QuickBooks, there's two major types of QuickBooks, QuickBooks Online and QuickBooks Desktop. The QuickBooks Desktop is where we see most folks using it because they provide like a contractor enterprise version of that. For the QuickBooks Desktop, we can obviously push in time that's captured on our daily reports and on our time cards, and we can also push over purchase orders and pay applications. We push eSUB purchase orders to either QuickBooks Bills or QuickBooks POs, and we push an eSUB pay application to a QuickBooks invoice.
All right, that looks like all the questions we have for now. Please feel free to put those in because we experienced a slight lag time. But Justin, do you have anything else? It looks like there might be a few more slides.
Yeah, definitely. Let's go ahead and jump back into that slide deck. You know, really what it comes down to is it comes down to, you know, you don't get paid for the work you do. You get paid for the work you document. And your number one profit protection tool is going to be that daily report. If you guys are eSUB clients, feel free to reach out for more information on anything you saw to client success at eSUB.com or call the 1-800 number, option 2 for support. If you're not an eSUB client but you want to set up a quick demonstration to go into more detail your individual workflows, email info@esub.com or call the 1-800 number again. Extension 1 will get you over to our solution engineers that could help you with that as well.